So if you want to have a look at the grooves of J Dilla, stick around, and I have someone coming up who will show you the ins and outs of how to play his beats on the drum set. Welcome, welcome. This week is a very special week. It is February, which means it's Black History Month. Not only is it Black History Month, it's also J Dilla Month. J Dilla, the great hip-hop producer, was born in February, and unfortunately he passed away in February. So today, my offspring, Kai Dayle, is going to walk you through the ins and outs of 3 of J Dilla's tunes. Kai's going to demonstrate the concepts, but on the drum set, rather than the MPC. It's an interesting lesson in that, first of all, an old head like me can never stop learning. Secondly, those of you out there who are beat makers, it is really great to understand the genesis, which is the drum set, where all these samples came from, and how to assemble them in a way that makes sense today. So, before we get into it, make sure to hit the red subscribe button and ring the bell so you know every time that I upload a new video. Here's Kai.
All right, what's going on, everybody? As my father just put, my name's Kai. I'm a drummer as well as a hip-hop producer. So the reason why I'm in here today is because my dad, it's as my dad mentioned, it's Dilla month. This month in February, producers all over the world, we like to honor the memory of J Dilla. And so to do so, I'm going to go over 3 different grooves here. Now, my father has taught me everything I know in terms of drumming, so I figured this would be a cool opportunity to show him a little something. All right, so this first track that we're going to look at is called Colors of You. Let's give this a listen here. Now, in this track, there's a lot of what I like to call drunk kicks. And the best way that this can be described is actually by the drummer Questlove for the band known as The Roots. They're a hip-hop band. The way the Questlove describes it is that the hi-hats and snares are straight, but the kicks are played by a drunk 3-year-old. Now, when I first heard that, it blew my mind, because for a good 2 decades, I've been playing drums since I was 2 years old, and I'm turning 24 this year, so about 22 years I've been playing drums. I was always taught to be on the grid, completely locked in with a solid sense of time, and that's what I heard every other drummer doing, and it made sense, you know, if you're the band's metronome, you got to be locked into your time. Now, the way that this translates over to hip-hop is with a thing called quantization. Now, hip-hop is made on the computer or on drum machines. It's not done by actually playing out the drums most of the time. It's like electronic based. So there's this thing in drum machines or in digital audio workstations called DAWs, called quantization, where it takes all the sloppy notes that you play and locks them in place so that it all sounds clean. Now, Dilla didn't like how robotic it sounded, so he just left it off. And what you get is a whole discography of just weird, off-kilter music that's just wild. So I'm gonna give you an example here in the song Colors of You. Now, most of the kicks, the first 2 bars they sound somewhat in time. It's got a loose, bouncy swing to it. But in bar 3 and in bar 4, there's some off-kilter kicks going on. So this is Colors of You. So as you've noticed in bar 3 and bar 4, on the and of beat 3 for bar 3, my kick was a little bit late. As you can see in the PDF, if you can do it, go down to the link in the description and download the PDF of these tracks. You can see that I marked on that and second kick slightly late. Now, the notation itself should just be written out as normal drum notation, but it's in the little text and the little notes that give it that feel. So in this one, you can see here, the second kick is ever so slightly late, and on beat 3 of bar 4, you can see the first kick of that beat is slightly ahead. It's written down there. So the example you get here, I'll loop those last 2 bars for you. So that's what I mean and what Questlove means when he's talking about the drunk feel. The kicks aren't really lining up with the click, but that's okay. It gives it that really funky, human feeling in the music. All right, y'all, so this next track we're going to be looking at is called Kamaal, spelled K-A-M-A-A-L. It's a Hindi word, which I believe means miracle, which is just beautiful. Dilla has a beautiful soul with his songs. This track features a very, I guess the best way to put it is an eager snare, or an anticipated snare. And the way to pull this off on a drum set is with a flam. So let's play the track for you so you hear what I mean. So as you heard from that one, there's a lot of early snares in that loop. And Dilla just did that because he had his quantizer off. And when he was listening to it, he's like, yeah, I don't want to bother flipping that back on the grid. It sounds good the way it is. He's very, very raw with his stuff on his MPC. He would just play out that stuff, and if it sounds good, it's good. Don't need to, I mean, he mixes and masters, of course, but he doesn't need to adjust his notes. So I'm going to go through Kamaal for you, and I'm going to show you how to achieve that early snare feel. So the secret to getting those anticipated snares is with a flam. Now, Dilla wasn't thinking about flams when he was programming the drums for this song, but to get that same feel on your drum kit, you want to incorporate a flam between your snare and your hat. So while most people are trained to just have their hats and snares at the same time, like that, you want to do this. That little bit of flam can give the illusion of your snare coming early. So even if you play it on the kick, or on the click, sorry, you still have that little anticipated bounce to it because everything isn't quite lined up the way it's supposed to be. Now, for this next track, I'm going to show you how you can take the first technique with the drunk kicks and the second technique with the early snares and mash them together. All right, y'all, for this third and final track, we're going to take a look at J Dilla's track 12. This one is off of one of his beat tapes. It was either the 1997 batch or the 1998 batch. I can't exactly remember which one. The dude's got a lot of beats. So for this track, it involves a lot of off-kilter snares, a lot of off-kilter hats, a lot of off-kilter kicks. Just the drums are really wonky in this one, and that's why I decided to save it for last, because it kind of incorporates everything we just talked about in the previous 2 songs. So let's get into it. Check this out here. one right there is one of my absolute favorite Dilla joints for sure. You can actually hear that one. The Roots did a cover of that one. As I mentioned earlier, Questlove from The Roots. His drumming is very influenced by Dilla. And yeah, he's actually got a whole record out that's a tribute to a bunch of Dilla's works, and this was one of the tracks. So this one, I'm gonna play it out for you. It's wild. It's got some weird stuff, and this is one of those songs where the main feel is good enough for government work. If it sounds human, if it sounds funky, that's what matters. It doesn't matter if it's on time or not. It's just gotta be funky. The main reason why I wanted to incorporate that third song is that song really showcases the human feel that Dilla put into his MPC. I like to think of him as playing the MPC as opposed to using it to make beats. The way he has this swing that no other producer can match. The way he just puts his heart and his soul into his music. We truly lost an absolute legend. Like it's not an understatement that he's known as your favorite producer's favorite producer, because he really is like the greatest of all time. He's a genius. He created a style that generations of producers and drummers have tried to mimic and have tried to learn from. So that's my definition of a genius, is when you can do something just on your own because you think it sounds cool, and then you have years later people are studying it academically like this. Come on, that's musical genius right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on J Dilla's work. Rest in peace, Dilla. You were and still are the best producer in the world.
Man, that was really amazing. Kai did a great job showing us just exactly how phenomenal J Dilla was. Click on the links below to access Kai's social media. Please share this video. And lastly, visit aubreydrumlessons.com. Okay, happy Black History Month and happy J Dilla Month. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, show a little love and hit subscribe. Make sure to enable your notifications because I make these for you all on a weekly basis.